Hello everyone. We are on a series of Detox Your Life. And when we are talking about detox our life, detoxing our mind and emotions becomes yet a very important aspect. So we are going to start talking about what is it about our mind and emotions that we need to detox. And if we had to go alphabetically, I think the first and the foremost thing that alphabet number A stands for is anger. All of us get angry. It is the most natural human reaction. And there's nothing wrong about being angry. If we weren't angry, we would not be able to fight for our own justice. If we weren't angry, we would not be able to protect our own rights. If anger wasn't there, we would not be able to stand up for ourselves. So, no emotion is bad, but only when the emotion goes out of control, it becomes too much for us to handle, or it becomes a pain not just for us but for our people around us. Is it when it needs to be detoxified from our body? And that is why I am talking to you right now about anger. Anger is an emotion that burns the one who gets angry first, then the other person. It is like holding a hot iron rod in your hand with an intention of hitting somebody else. Who's going to get burned first? Of course, you. Anger is a reaction and an emotion that leads to formation of cortisols in our body, which create great havoc in our entire body, affecting our nervous system, our cardiovascular system, our digestive system, our circulatory system, and it damages each and every cell of the body. Very often we have known that people who are angry tend to produce a lot of acid in their body and often suffer from something like acidity. So anger definitely causes physical damage. It leads to large amount of illnesses like BP, thyroid, diabetes, acidity, irritable bowel syndrome, and if not, lots of pimples, boils on the face. Teenagers are often seen with lots of pimples and boils on their face, and that's because of these small bursts of anger that they have, sometimes with their peers, their friends, and sometimes even with their parents. Because that's the time of their life when they're struggling to create their own identity, and they might feel challenged by people in their life about their own identity. And anger could be a common emotion with teenagers, youths, and people who are growing up. How do we take care of this anger and what needs to happen is what we are going to understand today. First and foremost, whenever a situation arises in our life, it is so important to open with complete acceptance to ourselves and the people in that moment. Instead of making it into an ego trip and instead of personalizing it, that this one said this to me, that one said that to me, this one hurt me, that one hurt me, what if we could just step out of the situation and observe and learn to look at that situation from a third person point of view, rather than all the time feeling victimized by the situation. Anger often comes because we allow ourselves to feel victimized by what is happening, what is being said. And if it is possible for us to just pause for a millisecond and take a nice deep breath in and really understand what is the feeling and the emotion behind what the other person is saying, it is easier not to get angry, but to open with acceptance to the situation. Of course, the situation may not be favorable for us, but when we pause, we remain calm, we are able to find the right outcome to the situation rather than get angry and react, rather than give a positive response to the situation. Isn't that what all of us want? And for that, I have always noticed that techniques which are traditionally Indian techniques, the root lies back to our basics, that is our Ashtanga Yoga. I cannot stress the importance of meditation, pranayam, and asanas. Actually, it should be the other way around. Asanas, body exercises, yogasanas are the first step. Ensuring that you have a good fitness regime, even whether it is simple walking, running, cycling, swimming, added with a good 30 minutes of yoga can ensure that you have better control over your emotions. Followed with that, Our mind and our body is connected through our breath. It might be difficult to control the mind, but it is easier to control the breath. And it is through this breath that we are going to learn how to control our mind and how to have better hold on our mind. And therefore, learning techniques of breathing, learning to control your breath is what is exactly pranayama. We are blessed to be a part of an Indian culture where these techniques are taught freely, easily through learned people. You can join various organizations like Patanjali Yoga or Isha Foundation or Art of Living Foundation and learn the basics of pranayama. Daily doing 15 to 20 minutes of pranayama will also help to have a better understanding about your own self, your own emotions, and not react but learn to stay calm and respond in the right way. And lastly, of course, meditation. Inculcating 15-20 minutes of meditative practice every day makes it possible for us to remain calm in times of crisis and in situations where it's important to remain calm. But mind you, this doesn't happen suddenly. When we cannot dig a well when we are thirsty. And therefore, daily practice of these techniques is very, very important. These are simple ways in which I feel anger management is possible. It is possible to detoxify anger out of our life and to have a better control on our emotions and be mindful about what we are doing, responding, and saying. Let me close by sharing a small story of how anger damages. I had a patient who came to me with epilepsy, fits. At the age of 50, he developed fits. And no matter whatever medicines were given, his fits were not controllable. When I started talking to this person, what came across very strongly was that this person had a lot of expectations from people in his life. And when these expectations were not fulfilled by the people in his life, he felt very hurt, he felt very disappointed, he felt so angry towards that person. But instead of talking, sharing, and expressing his anger, he just chose to not talk to that person and stop talking to him. The resultant was that for nearly 5 years of his life, he wasn't talking to his own mother. Then for the next 5 years, after some days, he started talking to his mother, but something went wrong and he stopped talking to his own sister. For nearly 5 years, he wasn't talking to his own sister and he was very angry with her. Eventually, things worked out between him and his sister and he started talking to his sister. But his basic nature had not changed. Something went wrong and he stopped talking to his own brother for more than 5 years. And last but not the least, he had just one very good friend with whom he got along very well, but because of some misunderstandings between both of them, he even stopped talking to that friend. When he was sharing this history with me, what came up very strongly was that you stopped talking with somebody for 5 years and you hurt that person and that person felt bad about it. What did you achieve? What you did to yourself was even worse. Maybe that person was hurt for 5 years because you stopped talking to him for 5 years. But what have you done to your own body, to your own mind? Can you imagine? 5 years you were not talking to your mother. 5 years you were not talking to your brother. 5 years you were not talking to your sister. 5 years you were not talking to your best friend. Out of 50 years of your life, 20 years of your life, you have wasted, you have spoiled, you have allowed your whole body to feel the pain of this anger day in and day out. This is the reason why this epilepsy, this fit has come. Because all this anger, the brain, the nerves cannot take in, and finally the brain has stopped. The nerves have succumbed to this pressure. Before any epileptic medicine helps you, what needs to happen is for you to learn to overcome your anger, to work on your anger. Forgive these people whom you are holding responsible for your own disappointments. Take charge of your life and learn to live in freedom by setting these people free. And that is why, if you want to live a fit and healthy and happy life, learning to detox your life from your anger and setting yourself free from these patterns which are holding you a victim to your own anger is important. Alright, that was all for today. We will keep talking about different topics of how to detox your life at the level of the body as well as at the level of the mind. Bye bye. See you. Take care.